Good evening and welcome to the very first video of a journey to success through trading. Now, Nate here at NMKL Trader, and this is the very first video of many more to come. Now, first, a little bit tonight, I just want to talk about mastering your money, a guide to financial freedom. Before we even think about trading, we have to get our head in the right space, or we have to get the headspace cleared out of everything we've been taught. Now, when you were growing up, you didn't learn anything through high school, you didn't learn anything in college. You had to get out to the real world to learn personal finance. Now, part of this journey of success through trading really requires us getting a good grasp of our own personal finances. So I'm going to take about 20 minutes here and just kind of go through a couple of things that might hit home, but this is practical, and you have to get your house cleaned out before you can start that journey of success through trading. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about mastering your money first. This is key. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework in here to simply take your finances over the last 30 days, do an audit, and get them aligned, okay? Because when you start earning money through trading, I want you to be prepared, because we're not looking at just generating income through this course. We're looking at generating income and then that income becoming the engine for our wealth model that we'll share with you later on in the course. Okay? Hello, everybody, and welcome. And thank you for taking time to be here today. Okay? We are here to talk about something that affects every single aspect of our lives. Yet we rarely get taught to manage it properly. And like I said before, you don't learn anything in school. It's basically our money. Now, again, the title of this session is Mastering Your Money, but really this is about freedom, okay? This is about giving you time and a stress-free environment to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and not worry about where the finances are going to come from. It's about having an option, not just a big bank account like you're making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. It's about having options, reducing that stress, and building a future that you can be excited about. Whether you feel like you're drowning in debt or just treading water, these simple principles that we're going to discuss here today are designed to move you forward in that journey of success through trading. All right. Before we dive in, I need to do some quick housekeeping. I'm sharing some educational strategies here with you today that are very crucial. I'm not a financial advisor or an attorney, and this isn't any specific investment advice. I'm just sharing what has worked with us in the past, okay? I don't give advice for a unique situation. You need to always consult a professional for major decisions. Things that we're going to talk about here may not necessarily be indicative of future results that you may consider, okay? So always consult a financial advisor or a tax professional or attorney before making any significant financial decisions. All right, now first of all, we need to take a look at what's going on out there. The financial state of the American consumer, or not just the American consumer, but in any country, prices have gone up. It's really harder to buy goods now than it was before. But let's go ahead and talk from an American point of view for a little bit. I want to start by acknowledging the elephant in the room. If you feel like it's harder to get ahead today than it was 5 years ago, You're not imagining anything. It is reality. Let's look at some data here for 2025. We are living in a K-shaped economy reality. Now, what does that entail? This is something that you'll hear. It's not a new term, but it's basically what the economists are talking about in the news. I heard this particular term, K-shaped economy, about 4 times today on Fox News, ABC, NBC, the different networks out there, because it's a reality. It means the economy is divided. On the top branch of the K, you see asset owners, and they are getting richer. The markets are going up. People with houses and stock portfolios. All right. So we're seeing the wealth grow if you're on the top. But on the bottom branch, this is where we have wage earners, people who rent. Okay. Look at the chart on the left. Since 2020, the cost of living has skyrocketed by nearly 25%. Meanwhile, the blue line, wages are struggling to catch up. This gap represents a massive loss in purchasing power. The dollar's getting weaker, cost of goods are going up. Yeah, sure, your 401k is growing, but at the end of the day, you're just keeping up with inflation. You're still not getting more buying power. We're seeing historic highs in credit card debt, over $1.32 trillion. Okay, and savings rates have basically plummeted to roughly around 4.4%. That's what people are averaging in their IRAs and their 401ks. In a savings account, shoot, it's less than 0.5%. You know, it's ridiculous. It's down in the dirt. So if you feel squeezed, know that it is a macroeconomic reality, not just a personal issue. It's not that you're failing, you just need the education, and that's what you're going to get through this course to be able to put yourself in the top of that K-shaped recovery, okay? Now, hopefully it gets better for both sides, but we need to prepare ourselves, and we need to be ready. So, this image that I'm going to share with you in this slide sums up the feeling perfectly. On one side, the cost of housing, groceries, and fuel is climbing at an aggressive slope. It's just going up, okay? While on the other side of this slide, our paychecks and our savings are moving at a much gentler slope on that hill. It's not up like this. Okay, this is cost, expenses, but this is our income. Okay, and so there's a big gap. It basically, income and savings are staying stagnant at the end of the day. And the key to this disconnect creates a deficit. And when we have a deficit, we usually feel that void with debt. Okay, we go out and we use our credit card. We go out and use, we get personal loans and things that have high yield interest rates. Okay, so we usually fill it with debt, but today I want to change the cycle. We need to break this cycle. We can't control inflation and we can't control the Fed, but we can control what happens in our own households. It's a reality. Okay, so through the rest of this particular presentation, I want to kind of dig into that a little bit. All right. Now, this might get a little bit uncomfortable for some. For others, it might be an eye-opener, and it might be that light bulb that comes on. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. So I want you just to take a few minutes and pause here for just a second and say, is this something that I really want to do? Because I'm telling you, if you cannot grasp what I'm going to share after this and implement it in your daily life, then a journey to success through trading is really not going to be a reality for you in the future. Now, I'm going to say this several times throughout the course, but that's because I need to help you understand that anything needs to be treated like a business. Trading will need to be treated like a business. All right, so here we go. Go ahead, once you decided that you want to move forward after this, after you hit that pause button, come back into this video and let's go ahead and jump into the good stuff, okay? Now, there are 3 pillars of control. And what I want to talk about is how we fight against that rising cost of living. We need to just simply get back to the basics. We're going to cover 3 fundamental principles today to help you reclaim that control. Okay, the first one, and this is very crucial, the golden rule: stop spending more than you earn. Wow, what a concept. Because when you spend more than you earn, you dig into debt. All right? Now, we're not all perfect. We've all been there and done that. Some of us are still doing that are trading. But what we're doing is we're starting that journey to these 3 principles that I'm about to share. Stop spending more than you earn. Number 2 is going to be budgeting, using a 50-30-20 rule. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And thirdly, funding your emergency fund, your safety net. You need to have 3 to 6 months, and I'll kind of cover that in just a second. So let's start with the very most critical one here, okay? Let's go ahead and talk about the golden rule. Principle number 1, spend less than you earn. I know it sounds painfully obvious, but in a world of buy now, pay later, use your credit card, take out this loan. You can go on PayPal now and they'll let you buy stuff, pay as you know, pay in little increments. Well, there's interest that goes along with that. Okay, so it's easy credit. This is the hardest rule to follow. This is the simple math of wealth, okay? If your outflow exceeds your inflow, okay, or I'm sorry, if your inflow exceeds your outflow, let me back up here for a second. If your outflow exceeds your inflow, you're digging a hole. You're taking that shovel and you're just digging a hole, okay? That means if you're spending more than you're earning, you're using debt, okay? If your inflow exceeds your outflow, then you are going to build a mountain. Does that make sense? Okay, to do this, you need to conduct an audit. Now, this is where I'm going to give you some homework, and I want you to just get your bank statement, get your credit card statements, and I want you to do a serious audit. I want you to look back over the last 30 days of your bank statements, and I want you to answer this simple question after you do the audit. Take your deposits minus your expenses, and you'll get your answer. If you are negative, then you're spending more than you're earning. If you're positive, then your inflow is greater than your outflow, okay? So, did you spend more than you made is the question I want you to answer. And if you answer it yes, we have to stop the bleeding, okay, before you can start a journey to success through trading, okay? So hard question to answer, but that's what I need you to do. Do that audit. Make sense? All right. Let's go ahead and look at golden rule number 1, spend less than you earn, do an audit and figure it out and answer the question, do you spend more than you make? Once you've done that, then we're going to talk about how to budget. Now, you know, once you get to a point where you are making more than you're spending, you can start a budget. All right. Okay, so we need to spend less than we can earn, but how? We need a framework. I recommend the 50-30-20 rule. It's very easy. It simplifies your life into 3 different buckets, okay? We're looking at 50% is for needs. These are the non-negotiables. Your mortgage, your rent, groceries, not dining out, groceries, utilities, and transportation to work. Those things that are non-negotiable. I just gave you a few examples. If your needs are costing you more than 50% of your take-home pay, we need to look at increasing income or drastically cutting major costs. Okay, and sometimes it can be uncomfortable, like housing or cars. Maybe your car payment's way too high. Maybe you can go to the bank and lower that interest rate. I don't know. Your financial situation is up to you. I'm just giving you some ideas. Okay, 30%, let's talk about the 30%, is for wants. This is the fun stuff, such as dining out, okay, Netflix, hobbies, new clothes. This is your spending, okay, on things on you or people around you. You can have these things, but they have to fit in that 30% slice of the pie. Does that make sense? Okay. And then here's the one that most people are having problems with. 20% is for going for savings and paying off debt. This is the most important slice of your future. This goes towards to paying off that high interest debt that we just talked about previously, or building your investments. So here's the action item. Tonight, look at your last month's spending, categorize every transaction into one of these colors, 3 colors. See where your pie chart is out of balance, and then start doing things to bring it back in balance. This is very important. All right. I don't know how many times I can say that, but before we start that journey to success through trading, we need to get our buckets of those 3 buckets: spend less than we earn. The 3 buckets: needs, wants, and savings, all working together. 50, 30, 20. Okay. Now let's talk about an emergency fund before you start investing heavily. Okay, because we will be teaching how to invest through trading. Okay, we're going to teach you how to make income through trading, and we're going to teach you how to invest through trading. But before you start investing heavily, you need a defense strategy. What happens if I lose my job? What happens if I get sick and I can't do anything for 3 to 6 months? Well, life happens. The car breaks down, the roof leaks, we get sick. We've seen in the economy, jobs get cut. There isn't a need for an emergency fund. And a recommendation, simple, is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. A whole year if you can do it. Start small, but build momentum. You can take that out of the 20% of those 3 buckets, okay? The savings and investment and debt payoff bucket. You need an emergency fund. Think of this as your financial umbrella. The goal, eventually 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting in a separate, easily accessible account. Don't mix it with your regular money. It'll be too easy to spend. The strategy is don't get overwhelmed by a huge number that you need there. Okay? Aim for small pieces of that 3 to 6 months of savings. Start with $500. Start with $1,000. Once you hit that, then you've got a buffer there. Okay, that buffer stops you from using credit cards on things that you might need to do for like car repair or things that happen in that life happens. It's going to break the cycle of new debt when you start having that emergency fund. Once you spend something out of it, put it back. This is discipline, folks, in our personal finances. They don't teach you this in college. They don't teach you this in high school. They don't teach this anywhere. People learn it through their own experience, and some don't learn it at all. All right, let's just understand that when we start this, it breaks the cycle of new debt. All right. Why is spending less than you earn so important? Why is it important to us? And today, with the way things are going out there, this may not make sense to some people. Why is spending less than you earn so important? Well, here's the reality. Because the alternative is debt. And debt is not just a tool. When used for consumption, it's a trap. Let me explain that trap to you. Look at this chart that I'm sharing with you here in this presentation. Let's say you buy something for a cash price of $1,000, okay, but you put it into a credit card and only make minimum payments. So what happens is, because of interest rates, which are currently very high, 25, 29, sometimes over 30%, you aren't paying $1,000. You could end up paying $3,000 or more for that same item over time. The gray arrow that you see in this particular slide is representing interest. And that is your future wealth being transferred from your pocket to the bank, okay? Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that cannot work for you. We have to stop funding the banks, the big fat cats. You guys get mad at them, but we have to stop funding them and start funding our own dreams. It's that simple. Now, once you've started to crush your debt and build your safety net, okay, you get to move to the offense. And this is where at NMKL Trader Academy, we're going to teach you how to build a wealth vault. Okay, simply after you learn to make income through trading, that income is going to become the engine now for you to start putting money into what we call the wealth vault, or it's going to be the second module of trading. This is how we're going to journey to success through trading. We're going to teach you how to build income, and then we're going to teach you how to put a wealth vault together. All right. Now, it's not as hard as you think. It's just once you start trading and you treat it like a business over and over and over again. We're going to trade different asset classes, futures, Forex, so on and so forth. And these things are going to get, once we start building income, we're going to start then putting money into long-term wealth assets, okay? And then when you start building assets, if you remember that K-shaped economy, to be on top, remember I talked about those guys being assets owners. All right, very key. All right, so once you've crushed your debt and build a safety net or that emergency fund, you get to move to the offense. This is where it gets exciting. This is compounding interest, okay? Now, Einstein once called this the eighth wonder of the world. This is your money working for you or your money making money. Look at the curve. In the beginning, it feels very slow, okay? It's flat. You might feel like your savings isn't doing anything. But as time goes on, your money's going to start making money on its own. The wealth doesn't grow linearly. It grows exponentially the longer you keep it in these assets, even with small amounts over time. The steeper the curve becomes later in life. Okay, why? Because your liabilities go down, your debt goes down, that's liabilities, and your assets increase. If you ever took accounting, liabilities go down, assets increase. That is what you want to see in a good business, all right? So that's why I'm teaching you that this investing, this trading, journey to success through trading, we have to treat it like a business. Now, this is how you move from the bottom of the K-shaped economy to the top, all right? Very key that you understand and learn these three concepts, these three pillars that I've taught tonight. Okay, so let's just talk here real quick. Your action plan, 3 steps that you can start today. And if you start these, then you will definitely start that journey to success through trading. All right. Um, if you do not do one of these simple little things that I teach you in this course, if you just ignore them, you're not going to hit that success. Okay, so keep in mind, this is a very crucial lesson, and I want you to be successful. I want you to be at the $1 Million Round Table with us someday in the future as one of my students. All right, so we've covered a lot today. We've looked at the harsh reality of the 2025 economy, but we also looked at a roadmap out. Okay, I gave you the idea of spending less than you make. Okay, use a budget, 50, 30, 20 rule, 3 different buckets, 50, 30, 20, needs, wants, and then savings and paying off debt. Also, build a build yourself a safety net. You got to have that emergency fund. Okay, that helps you stop the bleeding. That gets you organized and you protect yourself. Then once you protected yourself later on, you're going to build that emergency fund. Start with 500. Start investing. Let compounding interest start working for you. And we're going to teach you how to do that through this course. When we get into the investment model, or the wealth vault, we're going to teach you how to trade options. We're going to teach you how to buy stocks long term. And there's a plethora of things that we're going to go over. Now, that takes some time to get there. And I don't have that training built yet. But the point is, we start today to look to a future of success. All right. Financial freedom is not a magic trick. It's a series of small disciplined choices that you're going to make over time. So I told you to start that audit. Start it tonight. Start it tomorrow. Whenever, okay, but soon, and reclaim control. Don't watch the next video here that I'm going to present unless you do that audit and you start implementing the buckets, the 50, the 30, the 20, okay? Spend less than you actually make, or yes, spend less than you make, do those 3 buckets, and build yourself an emergency fund and get those 3 going within the next 30 days. Otherwise, this course, you could do it all day long, but it's not going to help you at all. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and just open this up for questions. If you have questions, please post them in the question section of the Discord channel, or feel free to just send me an email at support at nmkltrader.com, and I'll get back to you with any of the questions that you have. This is Nate. This is the first lesson, mastering your financial situation, of the journey to success through trading. And I hope you're starting to understand where we're going at NMKL Trader Academy. Good night. And Merry Christmas, everybody.